if we've had a history of bad, unhealthy relationships, how do we recognize a bad relationship? And how do we keep from just becoming cynical and pessimistic that all relationships are going to be unhealthy because no relationship is perfect?
Well, the interesting thing to me, and I'm social, I'm extroverted, I network and build relationships for companies. I have a large network, and that has happened and spilled over into this part of my life too, like as far as getting connected and staying connected with people that have gone through divorce, are single, dating. It even kind of formalized in what we call, I have a tribe, like there's 6 of us that have been doing life together for the last 5 years because we stayed consistent. Like we were like, okay, every Wednesday night. And it took, a few of us being the initiators to make that happen. But what I was going to say is it's interesting to see the diversity when you are connected to others that are in the same situation, how people approach it. I mean, I have friends that they don't want to date again. They do feel more cynical. They're more jaded. They get thrown off by the attention of a man, that when they have the opportunity. Whereas for me, I lean into it. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm going to see this as a learning experience. I want to learn. I want to figure this out. I want to know more about healthy relationships. I want one day. I've also been, through the journey of a few of my single friends that then met someone, and now they're remarried and they're doing the blended family thing. And so within our tribe, we have like so many different situations represented, and yet we show up and we understand and honor what each other have gone through and respect each other's different decisions. So if somebody's wanting to date, we're there, like ready for them to tell us where they're going on their date so that someone's in the know. If somebody's, not, they're like, I don't know when I'm going to want to date, or if I am, we can talk about that. So all that to say, like, I get it. I mean, when you've been burned, when you've experienced like deep loss and grief, I mean, we haven't mentioned that word, but that is part of what we're living with, I think, in the aftermath, is it's grieving. And we don't want to hurt this way again. And, we don't know, maybe we're not there where we want to trust again or put ourselves out there. But if we do, then it's worth, figuring out, maybe taking some baby steps and having good support around you when you do. I do not recommend stepping into the dating market without some really good support in your life. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Therapists and friends, both.
Therapists and friends. That's good. Yeah. Narrow it down to that.
And I think that, we talked about it a little bit earlier when, the whole point of someone who is abusive is they want to undermine your confidence. They want to tell you can't make it without them. They want to tell you that you're not smart enough, that you're not sexy enough, that you're not beautiful enough, and that, you're not enough. You're just not enough. And so buying into that message just is kind of a, self-fulfilling prophecy or fulfilling prophecy. And so we've got to be around people who really care about us, friends, therapists, old friends who really know us and really value us. Because that way, when we start hearing these messages, we can say, yeah, sorry, buddy, I'm not falling for that. I'm not going to let you devalue me. I'm not going to let you tell me I have no voice, that I have no vote, and that I have no veto. I'm sorry, the answer is no, I'm not going to go out on this date with you. And one of the best things I learned from Leslie Vernick is that she has a really simple test she teaches people when they go back out in the dating world. And she says, it doesn't matter if you're dating your best friend's brother or a guy you've known from church for 30 years. You need to test and see, how does he deal with your no? And when you say, the example she gives on her video is, he says, hey, let's go out Saturday night. And you say, no, I've really got to study for this class. And a safe person says, oh, really? I didn't realize, your class was, this important. Explain that to me. And you say, yeah, my finals are next week, so I really can't. And they'll go, okay, no problem. Catch up with you, next week or the week after that.
Right.
An unsafe person says, well, wait a second. I thought I was your special person. I thought I was really important in your life. And you're telling me that you want to spend time with boring books rather than being with me? I mean, I want to go out on the town and I want to go, to this party, or I want to be with these friends. And, if you're not going to be there, it just makes me look bad. And, how can we really be a couple if you're not going to, give up, if you're not going to set aside things so that, and you put us as a couple first. So you can see, they make it sound so good. They come up with all these reasons, but what they've really done is they've not accepted your no.
Yeah,
They've looked for yeah, exactly. Yeah. Every way they can to keep you from doing what you said you want to do, and talking you out of it in every possible and reasonable sounding way. But the bottom line is they haven't accepted your no.
That's great advice. One other last thing to add to this, I think, is just that growing strong roots in who you are, like you said, being worthy of knowing your worth, and knowing that you are going to be okay whether you're in a relationship or not. I mean, I know I kept hearing like, oh, you have to learn to love yourself and before you can do anything else. And part of that rhetoric, I'm just like, I don't like some of the little things thrown at you, because the truth is, like I said, I'm like, no, I'm wired for connection, and having a significant other is my heart's desire. And there's something about it that's unlike any other relationship. So that's my truth. But at the same time, there really has been something amazing about being a single woman and standing on my own 2 feet and knowing that, man or no man, like, I'm going to be okay. And I think I would caution someone that hasn't experienced that yet, as far as dating, to feel okay, or to date out of fear of being alone, or that you're not going to be able to survive by yourself. I was like, yeah.
There is just nothing like the feeling of, I worked hard. I've paid my rent. I've put the food on the table. I got stuff done. I'm taking care of my kids. And there's nothing like the feeling of, I am competent, I'm capable. And it is such a gift we give ourselves. And being back out in the workforce and having career successes and having job successes and really loving it. As Christian women, we were told that the only thing we could love was being a wife and mother. I'll tell you, I loved being in the work world.
Yeah,
I was good at what I did. Yeah, you are good at what you do. And, that is such a great, great feeling. And when you've got that sense of competence inside of you, it's like nothing else. And for those women who, have marketable skills, I think that even women who don't have marketable skills, some of you are just great in sales. And I have seen the doors open for people with great sales skills, even for women who were disabled and had no education. It's really been amazing. So it really, once you earn that first dollar, it's a great feeling. Right. I wanted to ask, there's one last question. I'm going to jump to this question on, what are your standards for how long to date before engagement and marriage? And then I would say, do you have any comments on how long you should wait before you start dating again?
Mm-hmm. Right. So there's, there's rules of thumb or, standard advice out there that's given like in that divorce care class where they encourage you not to date while you're going through a divorce or to give yourself a year. There's no magic number. And I think I knew that even when I was hearing that advice, just like you can't quantify this stuff, but it is important to know, that there's some caution, and some of this is just wisdom of those that have, people have seen relationships start up really fast and then fan out because they didn't have the time or they were happening in a very vulnerable time of their life. I think, I don't know, I mean, having been raised in the church and doctrine is very ingrained in me. I think I'm coming to a place in my life now where it's like my life doesn't fit the neat, tidy boxes like it used to. I mean, when I was married to a pastor and I was a pastor's wife and I had a family and a house and kids, I fit inside the box. Nothing in my life right now is traditional. Like, it is a different thing. And so I find myself even approaching dating and relationships in a non-traditional way. I'm like, I don't know, like there's so many things that are complicated on this side of it. That what I do know is that I'm looking for certain things and that it takes a long time to get to know someone. I mean, trust and like really seeing each other through different life stages. I know for myself, I'm going to need that, which I can't even get that in a year's time with someone. There's so much learning that takes place with somebody, and I'm in no hurry, honestly. And so, I find that there's ways to find a kind of relationship or determine it for yourself now, like what works with your situation there. And again, the complexities, and every story is different. I mean, like my kids have a present father. We have a visitation schedule. I'm not looking for someone to be a dad to my kids.
Right.
Some people, I've had friends that their ex left them, abandoned them. They're wanting that blended family. They're wanting the family unit. Whereas I'm more just looking for like, I want my person, my companion, that's my partner. And we may find a way to spend time and, when on my off weekends and journey through life. But, I hesitate to put a timeline. One more thing I would say, I have watched some people that, they are still very much in the mindset, of like, even with the traditions and the doctrine of no sex till marriage, where that's the driving force of like, we got to get through this dating and engagement, quickly so that we can have sex. And I'm just like, that I feel nervous.
Same formulas come back again. If only you don't have sex before marriage, you'll have this wonderful marriage. Well, it didn't work. So
yeah, I mean, when those promises have not led to the outcomes, like I can't believe certain things anymore that I was taught to believe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the problem is what we do is we get rid of the old formulas, the old promises, the rules that our church taught us about how to guarantee that great relationship. And we want to replace them with a whole new set of rules. And,
right.
I just feel like you said something at the beginning. You said it's really a journey, or maybe when we were talking before we started the recording, it's really a journey. And we aren't going with formulas. Now
Right.
we are plowing new territory and doing new things. And of course, we want to keep ourselves safe. So that's the one goal we really have to keep.
Right.
But where it takes us and how it takes us, we don't rely on those promises, those false promises that say, if you do X, Y, and Z, you're going to end up with a great relationship. And I think we've got to be thinking for ourselves and really asking, is this person meeting my needs? When I explain my wants to them, do they care about my wants? Do they give me my wants? Or is it really hard for them to meet my needs? And do they make excuses for not treating me well? And I think those are real, big red flags for us.
Well said. Right. Well, and I'm a big Brene Brown fan. Her book Daring Greatly was the backdrop of a support group that I was in 2014 or 13. That was my introduction to her, but she says so many good things that to me have given me permission and that are also a dose of wisdom. And so I was just thinking when you were talking, and this is like, this hopefully ties into everything we've talked today, when she, quotes, "It's not the critic that counts, but the man that's in the arena, whose face is marred with dirt and sweat and blood, who's there." It's like those of us that, me and you, those that we're trying to speak to, that have known this brutality of divorce, that never would have chosen this, but this is where our path led, that still hope for love, that still want to get out there. We're in the arena. We're on the floor, and there are critics in the stands, and there are families, and there are friends, and they might, be looking down being like, they've got all kinds of opinions, but they have not been through this. Or, at least none of my family have. And
Right.
yeah, it's like, and Brene says, if you're not in the arena too, I'm not open to your feedback. Like, there's something about, be careful. Like, sometimes we have to tune down the voices, and we have to just be like, this is not helpful. Like, this advice, this doctrine, this, trying to live my life, like, ultimately life is short, and I've been through a lot, and I have things that I'm grieving and losses, and this is not where I wanted to be at this point in my life, and I'm like, people can have all different kinds of opinions, but this is my life.
Right.
And we are our best expert. Like, we're the ones that know the details of our story and know our truth. And, others don't. They see a percentage of what we've gone through. There really aren't even enough words in the English language for me to help people, to help them along. I'm like, there's not enough words to bring them up to speed and help them understand. So I'm not looking to others that haven't been through this. And that's, again, Gretchen, why I'm drawn to you, because we need those, those of us walking this path and on this journey too, we need people that get it, that understand, that we can turn to say that that's where we find some safety and some real helpful advice.
Well, I love that what you brought up, and it really is our lives. And there is a time, and I had to do it even with my own parents, and say, this is my decision. I don't know if you're on board or not. And to be honest with you, I'm not waiting for your permission. This is
Right.
what I'm doing. And you can either adapt to it or you don't. But one of the things about trauma survivors is the first step, of course, is getting to safety. But the second step is finally taking back your voice, having agency, and making your own decisions, and not looking to everyone else for approval. It's not their life. They don't have any skin in the game. It's our lives, our happiness, our children, our future. And so ultimately, we're the ones making decisions. So I love that you brought up the man in the arena. It's so easy for outsiders to criticize, but in it with us. And I think that's really important. I think we are to the end of this, but I wanted to give you an opportunity if there's anything else you'd like to say that we haven't covered, because this is such a big topic and we could probably go on and on for hours. But is there any encouragement or advice you want to give to others who are just dipping their toe into this?
Well, having worked some 12-step programs for family members of those that have struggled with addiction, like, there's some beautiful sayings in recovery. One day at a time is probably the one that we know the most, but be gentle on yourself and trust the process. Like, these are phrases that I got in my journey that I still, to this day, I remind myself of them often. And so I just encourage each of you, be gentle on yourself. You've been through a lot, and you're brave and courageous as hell to get back out there if you want to date, and lean into the resources that are there, listen to some podcasts, read some books. Like, that's part of how you have some tools in your toolbox, and grow in wisdom, and know that you're part of this club that you would have never signed up for, but we're a bunch of badass women. And we really, I mean, I have so much respect and admiration for women that have experienced a life-saving divorce, and that are, you know, they're usually just really beautiful people, and that there is something about these journeys that transform us and make us all the more real, like the Velveteen Rabbit. We become more real. And so any of these wrinkles and gray hair and things that we have as a result, you know, I'm like, those are our badges of honor of what we've been through. Yeah.
To quote my daughter, she said, "Mom," now she's a millennial, "Mom, you are a badass in the best possible way." And I love that. And I think, you know, that's great. I do want to let people know that if you're looking for books on recovery, and one of my favorites, if you've really been through some tough relationships, one of my favorite ones, let's see if, I don't know if you can read this, it's probably upside down and backwards, but it's called Emotional Blackmail. So if you've been in an emotionally abusive relationships, this is one of my favorites. But if you go to my website, lifesavingdivorce.com/links, LINKS, you'll find all kinds of books for your specific situation that you've been through, whether it be emotional abuse, or if you've been with a chronically sexually unfaithful person, an adulterer, so a porn addict. I've got a whole list of books and resources that will help you, you know, get through this and fine tune your gut, and so that you can see the red flags when they come, and you know how to respond to them. And of course, one of the things at the very top of my list is the National Domestic Violence Hotline, because the hotline is just excellent, and the advocates on who staff that line are amazing. So anyway, thank you, Gina.
Let me just say a word to that.
Like, go for it.
Because, yeah, I mean, it is a resource that's available 24/7. You can chat with an advocate through the website, you can text, you can call, and every advocate goes through training. They're paid staff. They are a resource for having that third person, unbiased, specialized voice that you can process a relationship. So they're there for prevention as well as intervention. So take advantage of that. You deserve, you're deserving of love and safety and every happiness that your heart desires.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate your insights.